Thanks very much indeed, President. Commissioner Vestager, welcome back to Econ. We've worked together in the past. You are a person of absolute independence and impartiality. I very much respect your work, which is a difficult work that has to be done. And I think it is important in terms of Ireland's position that the case that was raised in the last Commission is now resolved in terms of a decision from your DG, and now we wait to see the outcome of the court case, which both you and I have said publicly we respect the outcome of that. So I want to put that on the record. Clearly this has been a very controversial decision for Ireland and Ireland's reputation. And on my first question, I mean, would you agree with the OECD's assessment and assertion that Ireland is categorically not a tax haven, given the rather lurid comments that have been made by a number of people in Europe and elsewhere for the course of the last few weeks or so? And then secondly, Commissioner, you said at the time, in terms of the unpaid taxes to Apple, you assessed that at being 13 billion plus. And you also said that other member states of the European Union could seek a portion of that money back. Now, some people see that this is a contradiction in terms of state aid rules. On the one hand, the Commission is claiming that Apple did not pay enough tax in Ireland, which constitutes the 13 billion amount, and yet it recognises that tax might be due elsewhere. Do you recognise that contradiction? And my final question is, the question arising from that is, if those member states were not gathering the tax, are they themselves eligible to be invoked in terms of state aid rules, given the fact that they themselves didn't track down this money? And my final question, Commissioner, is this. On what basis have countries now got to collect this money that's outstanding? How should they go about doing it? And does this not undermine the whole point that was made in terms of the 13 billion ruling that was supposed to be recoverable for Ireland in the first place? Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, first of all, as I think I have said here before, to me a tax haven is a place where everyone pays their fair share. And I think it is very important not to label anyone, because what we want is change. You probably know that my colleague Moscovici is in the process, which is a very long and very thorough process, to figure out who is part of the sort of global tax alliance and who is not part of the global tax alliance. And I'm absolutely certain that we will find Ireland as part of the global tax alliance to thrive for fair taxation also globally. The thing is that the huge part of the decision is obviously a state aid decision, where we look at taxes and whether tax rulings are being used as a tool to give a selective advantage. The question of whether Apple should pay more taxes in other member states is basically only a side issue, because it comes from the fact that where you pay your taxes to some degree depends on your organization. As I said in the beginning, the aim is that companies are being taxed where companies generate their profits. That's the Commission aim, and also the aim of the legislative work done by Pierre Moscovici. Apple started out now decades ago with a distribution arrangement all over Europe, recording the profits in Ireland due to the rights of the IP and the use of the IP by Apple Sales International and Apple Operation Europe. So basically it is an open question. Has this distribution arrangement changed into something where part of the value is generated in other member states? This can be very difficult to assess. So we are not suggesting that there are hidden state aid cases or any of the sort. It is an open and basically actually neutral question if the arrangements of Apple still is a distribution arrangement, or if value are being created in some of the member states where Apple supply a customer with different Apple products. And since can be very difficult to assess the decision when it eventually becomes public, may be of interest for tax authorities. But it is, as you can hear, it is a side issue to what is the decision actually about. I'm sorry, I think there was a final part of your question.
Just how would countries go about obtaining a portion of that back if they had determined on your own basis that some of the value was established in those member states? How would countries go about doing that? Thank you.
Well, we have no part in this, because basically we do not question the way Apple is organized. We do not question or investigate the Irish tax system. We investigate the tax rulings. So for us, this is a question of taxes being paid in Ireland or not. If tax authorities in other member states go through Apple's books looking backwards, they might find that the Apple activities have changed to such a degree that they may pay taxes in that country. But as I said, it is for the tax authorities in the member state. It has nothing to do with state aid. It has only to do with whether or not your way of organizing yourself changes from one category to another category.